the lead facilitator for that session, is ready. We'd like to implore everyone, if you're outside, please give us these timeouts. Please join us inside. Let's go through this panel together. These are discussions that will take the sector and the country one step forward. Please, I have a mandate from the Office of the President, Pecan. If you're not participating for this, then don't expect a certificate. Please, let's send text messages to friends outside. Photo session should hold. Let's go through this panel session that is geared towards changing the narrative. 2020 was awesome. The conversations from last year, we can see how bold it is in this particular year ending. So please, let's enjoy participation and be ready to ask the participants, rather the panelists, questions. The facilitator is ready. Once again, please join us. We're about to take off.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I want to start by reciting what we are all used to. And the response I get will determine how much we are prepared for this session. Up, Pecan! That's not enough, because I know that we are over hundreds right now here. I repeat again, up, Pecan! To the people at the left side, the response is very cold. I'm leaving the audience here now. The audience at the left side, up, Pecan! Again, up, Pecan. Good. Let's come in again and try. Up, Pecan. Obviously, we know we have done not as much as they have done here. Up, Pecan. Health is wealth. Thank you. Please, let's give ourselves a round of applause. Now, we are going shortly into a technical panel discussion, and to be honest, the organizing committee have done so well to prepare for this session. The theme of this AGM is quackery in pest and vector management, a threat to public health and environmental development. And for us to align with this, I don't think it will be very possible for us not to educate ourselves, remind ourselves of the core values of Pecan, and also as professionals, tell us more about what we think we already know. This panel session is not going to be like the regular panel session that we encounter on daily, maybe on events. We want it not to just be like a question and answer session. We want to be a panel session that every member, everybody here today will go with something different. Maybe something they've not heard about before. First of all, I want to say a very big thank you to the organizing committee and the ESCO member of Pest Control of Nigeria for putting it together. I may not be able to be mentioning names after names, but I'm sure we all know who our executive members are. I want us to give a round of applause to a visionary leader who within a short period of time has changed the game. For us to tackle the issue of quackery, awareness is the first thing that we have to talk about. And in 2-3 years, we've had back-to-back events that will have effect on these awareness issues. Ladies and gentlemen, I want us to give a round of applause to the National President of Pest Control of Nigeria, No, that's not enough, please. Let's take it again. Thank you. It takes a visionary leader to be consistent. A leader that is not consistent, we only try 1 or 2 times and, the fuel will finish in the vehicle. But I'm sure for the tactics in GRA, for the training session, for so many other inclusive programs, it has been back to back. Now, the panel session is going to have about 4 offline speakers and 2 offline speakers. My name is Tolu Kedeb. I'm the CEO of Rotimas Integrated Services Limited, Akukem IG Nigeria, and Rotimas Pest Control Training Academy. All the sessions of the panelists will last for only 15 minutes, which means that we have a presentation of just 1 hour. And after the presentations, the audience are free to throw in questions directly to the panelists. Now, we have, as we're introducing the panelists to the section, to the high table, we're going to begin because we have a very short time. I'm going to start with Dr. Adedolapo Fashawe, ably represented by Mr. Omotosho. Please, let's give Mr. Omotosho a round of applause, please. Please, let's give Mr. Omotosho a round of applause. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Secondly, we're going to be introducing to the panel PCO Abari Terungura, who is the chairman, Pest Control Association of Nigeria, FCC chapter. Please, let's give a round of applause for me. And the next, we are going to be introducing Dr. Oboso, who is a very vibrant member of Pest Control Association of Nigeria. Dr. Ogboso, please come to the high table. A round of applause for Dr. Ogboso. Dr. Ogboso? Okay. Please, let's give him a round of applause once again. And the last panelist here today present is fondly called the Jagaban of the pest control industry of Nigeria. Personally, I call him Snake Master. And coincidentally, we'll be saying 1 or 2 things about snake today. We all know that anything that has to do with snake now is a trending matter. Yesterday, I remember my uncle, when we were doing the road show, while we were moving on the road, he said, in Yoruba, he said, Majeki Ejo Shaoli DJ. You know what that means? For some of us that don't understand English, Yoruba, he said, don't let snake, bite your bum from the bowl. I have Baba, Sanitarian Pastor Michael Shomoye. Please, let's keep clapping, Thank you so much. And we're going to be having 2 offline participants. Two offline guest facilitators. That's in the presence of Dr. Isa Adamu and Dr. Kema Bonta. They're going to be joining us offline. I want to use this medium to say, for the second time, I want to welcome us to this event. Briefly, I want to share with us the objective of this. The organizing committee for the AGM, they had a vision that is beyond just a panel session. The theme of this program is quackery in pest and vector management, a threat to public health and environmental development. So if we actually want to talk about exterminating quackery, dealing with quackery, then among ourselves we have to increase values by making sure we advance our knowledge. We have to make sure that every person here today and those that are joining us offline, they are getting to hear something probably that they've not heard before. And a twist to the issue of quackery, which maybe few of us know about this, is that we have the set of people that we call certificated quacks. Am I sure? Am I communicating? That is to say that we have quacks that have certificates. So the issue of quackery is beyond just carrying certificates of association or license of regulatory bodies. So if you are less knowledgeable about what you need or what is required of you to operate as a pest controller, you are a certificated quack. So quackery is not just limited to those guys that we see on the road that are carrying pesticide in Antony Village, Ikeja or thereabout. So the information that will be coming from this noble panel today will help us to open our eyes to other things that maybe we've not heard about before. So the preface of this panel session, briefly, the health and environmental sector in Nigeria is plagued by so many problems that prevent it from performing adequately. One of the major problems is quackery. Before we even go further to see how it affects our health sector, let us take time to define what quackery is. What is quackery? Quackery refers to practices involving false knowledge of a particular field. People who engage in quackery do it for quick gains. Yesterday, when we were on the road show, I remember vividly, Uncle Show said, don't patronize pest controllers that will use your money to drink beer. And I quickly went to him and said, even the professionals also drink beer. Maybe we should be saying that, don't patronize people that will take advantage of you and use the money to drink beer. So if you use your profit to drink beer, maybe you have not done anything wrong. Or maybe let's say wine, because wine is more expensive than beer. Alright, so quackery refers to practices involving false knowledge of a particular field. People who engage or involve in quackery do it for quick gains and various other reasons. While real professionals may spend years mastering a craft or skill in practicing it, quacks may only spend a few months or receive no training at all before practicing similar profession. This means that the quacks are uneducated and unqualified in that field, yet go on to practice it. Now, let me go back to what we have hinted on briefly before. The effect of quackery is into so many sides. The first, I'm going to make a reference to an event that happened in Ekiti State of recent. On the 26th of May 2021, in Ekiti State, at the College of Health and Science and Technology in Nigeria, Ekiti, this news went viral. I'm sure a lot of us heard about it. Please, if you heard about it, can you raise your hand by signifying that you heard about the incident? I've only seen 2 people. You heard about it, sir? All right. Over 100 students of that college were admitted because after inhaling chemicals used for a fumigation exercise in the institution, there were a lot of issues. Secondly, the European Union has extended Nigerians being exports ban because it contained between 0.03 mg per kilogram of 4.6 kilogram of dichloride pesticide, when the acceptable maximum residue limit is 0.01. What that means is that there has been an issue of over-concentration. Unfortunately, I'm not sure we have so many farmers here. We have so many public health professionals. The Commission later extended the suspension of the import of dried beans from Nigeria until 2021, owing to the continuous presence of diclovers and impossibility to achieve in a short time compliance with the Union Food Law requirement regarding pesticide residues. In February 2018, Nigeria submitted a new action plan and stated that its objective was to control and streamline, in particular, dried beans, strengthen the legal and regulatory environment and build fundamentals for quality production of dried beans. However, the Commission understands that Nigeria has not yet implemented that action plan, not granted any budgetary means for its implementation. The stage of implementation of Nigeria of the action plan as regards the integrated pest management and maximum residual level of pesticide do not allow the conclusion that union requirement as regards pesticide residues on the relevant dry beans are met. In all of this, what we're saying is that up to now we cannot export beans to any European countries. And this is solely responsible by the act of quackery. So it's not just about the impact on the environment, it's not just about the impact on our health, it means that there's also an impact on the economy of the nation. That is why our gathering today is very vital. We're going to be having short presentation for our panelists, and the first person that will be coming on board, I'll quickly glance through, is CV. Like I said earlier on, we just want to make sure that we educate ourselves briefly on what we need to do as professionals to make sure that we are in line. The first person that will be coming on board is in the person of PCO Abari Tarungwa, who is the chairman of Pecan Abuja chapter. Please, let's give him a round of applause one more time. He's going to be talking to us briefly on the public health rodent control guidelines. Abari is the MDC of Oki Nigeria Limited, and also, like I said earlier on, the chairman of the FCC of chapter of Pecan. Oki Nigeria Limited is the first Oki franchise to be established in the whole Africa. He is a certified pest management professional, a graduate of Oki award-winning commercial training and certification program that extended well beyond the classroom at Oki University in Atlanta, USA, and in UAE. For the next 15 minutes, we will be hearing from him as professionals what we need to know more about rodent control. And when it's done, as the moderator, we only have one more question each for the members. Then we will allow the audience to also come up with their questions, which I know that my colleague is also working on. So,
just going straight to what we need to do. But first, I keep on saying this. What is a profession? When we say something is a profession, it insinuates some requisite knowledge that you must have to be able to be in that profession. You can't be a lawyer without going to law school. You can't be a doctor without reading medicine. Pest control is a profession, and you can't be a pest control professional without having the requisite knowledge about pest control. When Richmond talk about certified what? That's the way you put it. Certified quality. It's true. Some of us call ourselves professionals, but do we really have that knowledge that we can back up our professionalism with? So please, this is an avenue that we should really pay good attention. The knowledge makes you the professional. I'm going to talk about rats, rodent control. Let me start by saying I have a slide that I would rather have it run so that we'll make it a bit interactive. We have rodents makes up about 40% of all mammals, and they're worldwide. I mean, and they literally in every continent. They are everywhere. Rodents are here with us. They are everywhere in the world. So wherever you are, all that you are in the presence of rodents. And then why do they call them rodents? I mean, let's make it a bit interactive. Why did they call them destroyers or some other word? Why did they call them rodents? Simply from the writing word rodea, meaning to know, these guys have to chew. They have to chew. Their biology is such that their teeth grow continuously, so they need to keep on gnawing on it throughout their lives. So sometimes when they chew your certificates, they chew your electrical equipment, they chew everything. They're not chewing necessarily for food, but throughout their lives they have to chew or their teeth grow. Every year rodent teeth grow about 4 inches per annum. I mean, if they were to go to the dentist will be in a very good profession. So rodents necessarily have to chew every time in their life because their teeth continuously grow, and the name rodents is actually from the way they behave to now. No, in this part of the world, I'm going to be very fast so that we can make up a 3 minutes. There are 3 particular types of rodents that actually are of particular concern to us, and I call them the dating trio. And we'll talk about the house mouse, which is the mus musculus, the Norway rat, which is the Ratus novigicus, and the roof rat, which is the Ratus ratus. Musculus means actually to steal. I mean, that's the one that actually enjoyed more being with us in our structures, the house mice, the house mouse. The name suggests that it steals. And then why are they so important to us? Why is rodent control so important? The problem we have with rodents is that they destroy our food supplies, they damage our structures, they spread diseases, and they ruin our reputation. If you go to any structure and you happen to see, be it a commercial structure, be it a restaurant, be it a hotel, and then you see a rodent there, chances are you are not going to go there. So they destroy the reputation, they bring, of course, let me just pause a bit and talk about their most challenging problem, which is disease causing. I mean, in the 14th century, rodents were responsible for the death of 1/3 of the population of Europe through what was known as the bubonic plague. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about it. Through what was known as the bubonic plague. This was transmitted by a bacteria called Yersinia pestis, which was carried by rodents. And a lot of people were killed, over 27 million, in fact 1/3 of the world population. When we talk about pandemics, we have never seen a pandemic in that region again. I mean, of course, we talked about COVID-19 here, but all of us agreed that the death rate has not gone that far, but it has crippled the whole society to a large extent. So rodents really, in Nigeria here, there are so many things. We talk about the Lassa fever, which is caused by rodents actually. Discovered in 1969 in Lassa village in Maiduguri, in Borno State. I mean, and it's actually much more lethal than COVID-19. And it happens every year. These are the kind of zoonotic transmissions that rodents cause. How do we service for rodents? I mean, like stated on the slide there, it all starts with an inspection. It all starts with an inspection, a visual inspection. Really, the first thing you need to look for is signs of infestation of rodents. And there are so many ways of looking for that. You don't really need to see the live rodent inside the facility before you know that this facility is infested by rodents. You look for the signs, which are the burrow marks, the droppings, the smell. I mean, if you an experienced pest practitioner. By the time you go to the structure and you hear you perceive the odor of rodent urine, you know that, oh, these guys are living in this facility. So first you have to inspect. Inspection is actually essential, not necessarily for identifying that the rat is there, but also to look for the conditions conducive that make it possible for those rodents to inhabit whatever facility you are looking at. Of course, there are certain specialized lights that if you shine them in dark corners, and the torchlight is like the stethoscope to a doctor. That's what a torchlight is to a pest control professional. There are certain specialized torchlights that if you use them in rodent inspection, you see some fluorescent signs of their urine. They're a bit expensive, but that helps you also identify that you have rodent infestation in the place. Basically, the top five signs of rodent infestation are the droppings, the nests, the grease marks, and the burrows. I mean, particularly for the house rat, it does burrow a lot. And then when you see the noise signs, when you see some of your wires, some of your certificates, some of your equipment being chewed on, you know that, wow, these guys are here. Of course, sometimes if the infestation is very heavy, you are going to actually be able to see sites like rodents. You have gone to a place where you have a heavy infestation, you see them darting from here to there. That way you know that the infestation is really, really very heavy. How do we control rodents? First, you need to search all the source. SOS, that's the SOS for rodent control. How are they getting into the home or facility? What are they eating? What is their water source? Where is their nest? For any pest to inhabit a facility, the pest triangle has to be met, which is the access, the harborage, and the food or shelter, the food or water. Particularly for rodents. Rodent can't, the house most particularly, the house, nowhere rat can't stay for a day without drinking water. So necessarily, if he inhabits a place, there must be a source of his getting water. There are four basic principles in controlling rodents, and these are the ones that I highlighted. You have to eliminate the food and the water, you have to eliminate the harborage, you have to help control the entryways, and then the last one is the providing treatment. Of course, we know that pest control has moved from the orthodox or the traditional method where everything is based upon chemicals to what we call integrated pest management, which is a proactive way of controlling pests. Of course, most times when we go to a facility, you already have the extant pest population in that facility. Most times people even try to control it themselves. It's until it gets out of their hand that they start thinking, oh, there are professionals that let me call them. So most times when you go to a facility, you have that extant pest population in that facility. You need to get rid of that, of course. But going beyond that, you need to find out why is the pest there? Why is the pest in that facility? You need to look at the conditions. And the IPM, the integrated pest management, look at so many ways you can bring a multi-pronged approach to try to make sure that you control the pest coming to your facility. It's not about coming to kill, which most of the people are fascinated. We have chemicals, we have rodenticides, so if you come and put them in base stations and all that, that's okay. You need to get rid of them, but beyond that, you need to put in structures to make sure that those rodents don't inhabit that facility. Of course, in IPM methods, we try the physical methods first. Trapping first. You need to trap them, or you need to physically put in traps, snap traps there, live traps, catch traps, in the facility to make sure that you physically eliminate them. Exclusion is key. The rodents must be going into your facility through a hole. Make sure you check off for those holes, make sure they are safe. Some of the responsibilities are not really only for pest control professionals. You have to make your client, whoever's facility, to understand the reason why they're having this kind of investigation in their place. So they need to share this kind of responsibility. There are areas you need to point out to them that, look, I can kill all the rodents in this facility, but if you don't close that hole, tomorrow they are going to some others will come again. Exclusion is key. Baiting is critical. I mean, instead of using chemicals indiscriminately, we really need to put in baits put in place that we target specifically for the rodents. Now, the base must only be in tamper-resistant devices, and then we need to try to keep them out of sight whenever possible. Please, we shouldn't be indiscriminate in the use of base. Food areas, never ever use base in food areas. There are chances of them contaminating food sources, and rodenticides are poison. Whatever we like to know, they are poison, and once they contaminate food, we are causing dangerous scenarios for the clients. We can't use them inside healthcare facilities. We can't use them at a residence unless all the options have been failed. Look, IPM comes with diverse approaches. When I was a kid, my mom used to sell grains, and one thing that was always in the house was a cat. That's the biological control for rodents. I mean, once you keep a cat in a facility, if you can, no rat, no mice, just the sound of the meow of a cat drives them away. None. In our own case, sometimes the biological control is not always possible because some people don't like cats. So they don't even like to see other animals. They don't want to see rats. Why should I start seeing cats? And so sometimes it's not attainable, but if it's attainable, a simple cat in a house, for those that love cats, will get rid of the rodent problems. That doesn't mean that you can't pay attention to the conditions conducive, the things that makes it possible for the rodents to inhabit that facility in the first place. Of course, in the end, we need to use chemicals that we have base, two types of base. We have the chronic, and then we have the acute, the single feed, the direct, the chronic, the multiple, and the anticoagulants. It all depends on the scenario, what we want to really achieve. Each has its own advantage and disadvantage. Like as you can see from the next slide, the single feed sometimes lead to best shyness. Rodents are very, very, very wise. They are very, very wise. So when one takes something and dies immediately, but over some time, others are not going to feed on that. But for the other rodenticides, sometimes they take them and really they don't really know what has killed them, what made them, what killed them. Now, this is a comparison of some of the acute and chronic rodenticides. The rate of population decrease of the rodents, the base shyness, the resistant time, the secondary poisoning, time for treatment, and environmental risks. For the acute rodenticides, the environmental risks are less than the lower acting multi-feed rodenticides. So we need to put in a lot of considerations. But basically, what I really want to let everybody know is that for us to try to treat any pest, we need to understand that there's no general rule. There's no cookie cutter. Every one system works for everything. You really need to understand the behavior and biology of that particular pest. The way the rats behave is different from the way the mouse behave. I mean, the rat cannot live without water. The mouse sometimes gets water in the food it eats. So when you are checking for rodents and you see that there are water sources, there are no water sources around, but it majorly way the mice and not rats, and the treatment so will depend on the kind of rodent you see there. Now, safety. There is no pest control method. There's no pest control exercise that is done that is good if the safety of any person in the chain is compromised, whether the operator, the client, the pets, the people in the facility. We really need to think safety. And sometimes we might be called upon to remove dead rodents and rodent fecal materials. We need to wear our gloves because, like I said, they are agents of zoonotic transmissions. They harbor a lot of diseases. The rodent themselves have been known to carry about 26 transmissible diseases, some of which are very lethal, as could be seen in the case of Lassa fever. Of course, gloves and respirators are very essential when we're dealing with rodents. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for your time. Please, you will go back to your seats. What we want to do, because of the time constraint, is to have a general question and answer session. So we're going to have the member of the audience ask questions based on what each of the facilitators has presented. So any question coming to you has to be centered around rodent control. Once again, please let's give PCO Abari a round of applause. Thank you so much, sir. So we still have 3 panelists, which we believe in the next 30 minutes they should be done. We're going to be having